Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming into another video. All right, so I'm getting a little more understanding of what's going on with Russell Westbrook. Essentially, he wants out of the Los Angeles Lakers. It seems as if people are lobbying one way or another. I think it's obvious that LeBron James probably needs Russell Westbrook gone. I think that equates to LeBron James wanting Westbrook gone. No, I think those things are aligned. So at this point in time, it's like, all right. Everything over here in Lakerland, it's like this. Everybody's doing this. It's a lot of this going on. And what I'm trying to figure out is that a natural reaction to the pressure that's being placed on them, or is that a demonstration because that's what we want people to see? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because there's a lot of noise, it's a lot of moving around, it's a lot of muck over here. Westbrook, his agent, they talking. Bron's over here tweeting, and Genie's tweeting. Everybody over here is moving around. Nobody's quiet. And that is not just happenstance. This is calculated. I personally think all of this, everything is the Lakers. It's all us. When I say everybody's over here talking, I think the Lakers are actively, like, I picture it like this. Everybody's sitting in the room. One person turns around and says, all right, everybody make noise. And everybody starts making noise. That's how I see this. This is exactly what's happening right now. Now the question is, what for? What for? Is it as it seems? And all of this is exactly as it's being reported? Or is this yet another leverage play? Because what it feels like to me, if it's not what it seems like on the surface, it's a huge leverage play. Everybody's trying to fluctuate different pieces in the value of these different pieces. Now, the information that's being released to us about the Lakers making noise, is that coming from the other side? To apply pressure? You know what I'm saying? Is that actually false? Is this all manufactured somehow? I'm inclined not to believe that, since the evidence shows otherwise, with the agent bringing out statements and stuff like that. So I don't believe that scenario is the way this is. But something is going on. Something else is happening. Because I'm telling you right now, it makes zero sense for Russell Westbrook to demand a trade. The Lakers are actively trying to trade him. Now, I could see the path where he sees an opportunity to where he has to go back. And he's like, nah, I don't want to go back. Now, if they can get me out of here, get me out of here. And that's what it feels like kind of going on, in my opinion, looking at it. It's like, okay, we thought we were close to a deal. You had the man, he, like I said, he put on Spurs uniforms, not uniforms, but colors in his IG post about a week and a half ago. I'm assuming he thought a deal was close. So there was no need to do this. It became a situation last week, as you guys know, where I put up a video, I think it was last Saturday, where I said I think a deal is close. All the tea leaves are showing something's close, and we're close. And nothing happened. I think that space is why all this is happening. I think somewhere within that last week, Russell Westbrook lost his patience. LeBron James probably lost his patience. I think that's what's happening. Some variation of that took place. So, if I'm just, throwing theories out there, just kind of brainstorming and speculating, pure speculation, I think those guys are doing this together to force this process, honestly. Like, okay, they not moving, so let's beef. Because obviously they're not serious about making this happen. And there's a good chance these dudes may actually bring us back because they don't want to give a pick or something like that. No, for the betterment of you, Westbrook, you need to be gone. As you know, this is not a good fit for you. And for the betterment of me, look, I need to win a championship. We can't win together. I know I can't win together. There's a chance they may bring us back together. We got to do something. That's what I think is happening here. That's exactly what I think is happening here. So, I don't know if it's real beef behind the scenes, but I just feel like guys were able to sit down a year ago and come together for the betterment of the business. It didn't work out. Now, men can get emotional. People can be emotional, but these particular men could also be calculated as well. I could see a scenario for both. So, this is a means to an end. It's a means to an end. Y'all ain't gonna move. We gotta do something. So, look, I'm firing my agent. He gonna release statements and all that. You put your tweet out, you and your boy, your agent, Rich Paul, y'all need to put some tweets out as well at the same time. It's a cold game. We ain't saying too much. Hey, let's do a demonstration. All-Star game. Not All-Star game. Summer League game. We're both going to show up. but we ain't gonna talk. We gonna sit on the opposite end of each other. That's deliberate. In that space, people don't like each other. They talk all the time. They sit and smile in each other's faces. They have to be right next to each other. They don't have to sit far away from each other. I'm sure LeBron James had people next to him that he probably don't really vibe with in that situation. That was a demonstration. Why was it a demonstration? Because we needed to see it. Why did we need to see it? Well, we needed to see it because something needs to happen. They need to be beefing so it's understood that they don't need to be playing together, and so that the Lakers can just hurry up and make this move. I think the Lakers could be in on this. Why? Because we want Brooklyn to hurry up and move. So if we make it look like, hey, we're losing leverage here, maybe you'd be more inclined to do a deal that you weren't inclined to do at all because you want to go back to the drawing board because you're not happy. But if you come to the table now, maybe we throw a little more in and get this done. Because what is the point? To hurry up and get this damn thing done. That's the point. Hurry up and get it done. I don't care how you get Russell Westbrook traded and Kyrie Irving here. Just get him here. If I got to make a noise and dance like a clown, we'll do that. Because the clock is what we're working with here. So let's get him out of here. I think Russell's on board with this. I think LeBron's on board with this. I don't know if the Lakers are on board with this or not, but it feels like this is what it is. I'll tell you right now, if that's what's going on, I still want the Lakers front office to make good decisions. Because the players have a timeline and then our franchise has a different one. So if we hurry up and make a move that sucks, they'll be happy because they'll win right now. After that season, we'll suffer for it. So that's why I would always lean toward being patient in moves. Now, that doesn't mean that the clock is your friend. It doesn't mean that. I was listening to Chris Sports Talk. I believe his name is Chris Sports Talk. I'm not sure. But, Chris was essentially saying, you got to make moves now. Like, when you have a deal in place, you can't drag your feet. Because when you drag your feet, what ends up happening is the dynamic of the environment could change. A Utah Timberwolves deal happens. Now what you were going to pay $1 for, you got to pay $10 for. This is why you don't mistake patience and clock mismanagement. There are two very different things. You know what I mean? You wait too long on the clock. No, that's not being patient. You've waited too long. So we need to understand that we probably did that in this case. And so, yeah, I've already told you guys, in the right deal, I'll move both picks. One pick for sure, 27 is gone. But in the right deal, I will move both picks. And the reason why that is because we are probably not going to walk away from this thing being able to hold both picks anyway, because I don't think the league wants us to have both of those picks. The entire league seems to be against us in regards to us holding on to these assets. And if we hold it to our very own detriment, that doesn't necessarily mean that we've won the situation. You understand what I'm saying? I think the field is overvaluing our 29th pick more so than we are at this point because they're trying to pry it away from us so much. We need to ask ourselves, how much do we need it? And does the presence of that struggle actually play into their hands, whether they know it or not, because we're not moving in a way that makes us better because of it. I don't want to be strangle-held to that 29th pick and it turns into somebody we don't even need, want, or care about. That could very well happen. So I'm not saying that pick doesn't hold value. Obviously, you know what it represents to me, a means of getting out of bad situations. It's extremely valuable. But what I don't want to do is overvalue it. Anything and everything can be over and undervalued. And so at some point we need to respect that truth and see what that 29th pick means to us in the grand scheme of all of this, especially if Russell Westbrook's value is now going to be sabotaged with this trade demand. We are going to have to throw in both picks to get rid of them. And that is what the picks do, redundantly speaking. They get you out of bad situations. So I think that's what we need to do. If we can't find ourselves in a situation to win now, we got to do something to put ourselves in a position to get out of this. So I look at it like this. We're getting back to a point of square one. We're back at square one, to be honest with you. And I don't like being back at square one because I thought we had passed this. I truly thought we had passed this, but for whatever reason, our front office brings me back here. If we're not going to win now, we need to start planning for the retaining of the value of our assets. All right? Now, that's not what I want to do. That's not the plan I'm on. I've been off that for now 4 months now. I'm ready to win. But apparently our front office is still split by this And I'm telling you, if you're split, you're going to fail. There's not going to be a halfway in, halfway out championship one. That does not equate to success on a basketball floor. You got to either go all in or rebuild, in my opinion, or settle for mediocrity. And I don't think settling for mediocrity is something that the Lakers can afford to do with LeBron James' timeline as it is. We got to win now, or we got to respect the fact that it's responsible to blow it up and put ourselves in a position to have that foundation from which success can be built. Now, I personally think LeBron James provides us that foundation, at least for the short term. As long as he's in place, you have a whole floor. But if you're not going to build properly on top of that foundation, what's the point of having a foundation like that? You know, you got the strongest floor, but you're building, you know, stuff that can be wiped away by wind. Just like, it's pointless. If you're not going to build strong, don't have strong foundation. So that's what I'm on. The Lakers need to either accept the fact that it's time to win now, and you're going to have to give up picks to do it. Nobody likes it, but it's what it is. Or you got to value those picks more than you value this timeline and get more of them. Trade Bron and AD for more picks so that you can properly value what a pick represents. Because if the pick is supposed to be able to get you out of bad situations and you're in a bad situation, I mean, come on. Like, at some point in time, we got to stop tiptoeing around the truth. If people don't want to win with LeBron James, then let him go. I don't have a problem with winning with LeBron James. I understand some mistakes were made. I know there's probably some stuff going on behind the scenes. But look, what do you have without him? It's the same thing I say to the Nets without Kyrie and KD. What do you have without him? You don't want to pay Kyrie Irving? Okay. Well, you going to let KD walk? Because that's what comes with that. I mean, at some point in time, you got to say, all right, 29th pick, paying Kyrie. It's the cost of winning. It's the cost of not falling back down to the cellar. So, is it something you want to do? I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay Kyrie if I'm the Nets. I don't want to trade the 29th pick if I'm the Lakers. I don't want to trade LeBron James if I'm the Lakers. But you got to pick something. Because you can't stay in this space, think you about to win. You ain't going to win nothing. And I'm telling you, these fans ain't going to be no happier if you bring us a mediocre, superstar-driven basketball team again than they would be if you strip it all down and tank for victory. Because honestly, losing is losing. Straight up. Don't give a damn if we're losing with Bron or we're losing with just Austin Reeves. It's still losing, man. And so, I want the Lakers to get their heads out of their backsides on this one. Clearly, the situation with Russell Westbrook is just ridiculous. He should have been gone. It shouldn't have came to this. If all of these reports are true, the Lakers should have stopped this from ever coming about. Going around on this charade about how we're going to bring him back. Everybody is aware of what the Lakers should want in this situation. You know what I mean? We also understand what the Lakers should be showing the world, which is why we're not looking at you crazy for going on this ridiculous charade. But it is a ridiculous charade. And it needs to have had a purpose. You ain't had Darvin Ham running around here acting like he wants to coach Russell Westbrook in his system just for this thing to fall apart like this. He ain't had that man wasting his time talking like that just for this to be the case. This is not a good start for his tenure. And this type of stuff I'm talking about, Lakers need to control this environment, man. And where does it start? I believe it starts with split voices, inputting on circumstances. The voting mechanism in place, leading us on every decision. I keep telling you, that is ultimately going to be what undoes our success. This is what's going to push LeBron out the door. Is 7 and 8 people voting on what the heck to do next. I'm telling you, that's why we're going to suck again if we end up sucking. It's because she doesn't want to get rid of some of these people. I'm just being honest with y'all, Laker Nation. It's getting to a point where you can clearly see that's what caused this. The only reason why Russell Westbrook hasn't been traded is because there'd be some people on the fence saying, I don't know. Whoever they are, whether it's her or them, somebody's on the fence keeping this thing from happening, and that is why ruckus is being caused by these players. Ruining their trade value, ultimately making it harder for us to move them. And I don't blame Russell Westbrook. I stayed cool. I could have raised hell for a whole 3 months while Skip Bayless was disrespecting my name. I did nothing. But I was gonna give y'all an opportunity to trade me. Y'all keep on dragging your feet, and look, Brandon BDF44 understands why you drag your feet. But if the players don't understand why you're dragging your feet, or they're not aligned with that vision, or they're not a part of that, they may mess it up. You may not have the ability to bring back a Russell Westbrook just because you couldn't get a trade for him. I guess that's an assumption we found out. Nah, overplayed that hand, Rob. You just assumed that Russell Westbrook was just going to come back and waste the season with us because we couldn't move him. I made that assumption too. I guess I was wrong. We underestimated Russell Westbrook's willingness to waste another season of his career, which is really, it's one of those situations where it's like you look at him and say, well, if you're going to play better, bro, I mean, are you going to force your way out of here so you can suck somewhere else? But you better play better when you do that. Don't go there and give them what you gave us. Because it looks like to me, this is one of them situations where it's an environment where it looks like he's blaming the Lakers for his struggles. And I'm not saying that as a means of responding to the narratives. I'm saying that's what the demonstration looks like. So I don't know. I don't know how to take that as a fan if that's what I'm reading there. I certainly don't think it's my fault he sucked out there. I will say that much. I know it's a lot of pressure being applied by Laker fans, but that's a Hall of Famer, bro. You got to play better. I know you didn't have a center out there, but fundamentals matter. And if you're not working and getting better at something that you're weak at, then you're not doing your job. And I said that during the season. I say it now. I still challenge him to try to get better at certain things, just like I challenge myself. But I certainly ain't about to blame nobody for why certain things ain't work out in my life. It didn't work out because I didn't do what I was supposed to do, or because I made mistakes, or because I didn't react well to pressure, or what have you. And so I think that self-awareness and that self-assessment and being able to stand on that, just like we stand on whatever we defend ourselves against, is ultimately what's going to make us better. Not blaming others for your problems, not saying it's their fault, or getting mad at people for reacting naturally to the struggles you put them through by playing so poorly. It's not like you gave us the best version of Russell Westbrook and now LeBron wants to part ways with that version. No, sir. He's parting ways with somebody who struggled very, very mightily. For whatever reasons, doesn't matter. So if we're going to look at it from that standpoint, and if we're going to assume this is not manufactured nonsense, then looking at it that way for me is obvious. Just come on now. I get it, but there's a level to that. And I just feel like sabotaging this situation, knowing what we have in front of us, is giving us the finger. That's how I look at it. If I'm not to assume that LeBron James and Russell Westbrook are doing this together, and the Lakers are not a part of this, some strange way to do this, and he's just doing this, ruining our chances of trading him, he's hurting the process of what it is he's trying to do. And I always say that, look, if the team's already trying to trade you, just don't put a trade request in. If you know they want to move you, there's no reason to speak out and say you want to be traded. All that does is make it more difficult for that to happen, unless you're a superstar giving them a list of teams as to which that's protocol. But like in a situation like this, we're trying to get you to anywhere, bro. Then all you're doing is making it harder for that to happen. So I just don't think that works in his favor from the angle that I can see. But I know that there are angles that I couldn't, which is why I would come up with this theory. But nevertheless, I wish everybody well, as I always say. You know what I mean? I wish the Lakers well. I want us to win, man. I don't particularly care too much about narratives and stuff like that, because it's, you don't really know what's real and what's not. But as it pertains to stuff like this, it's worth talking about because it does affect how we build the team. And so that's really what I'm interested in. I want us to build properly. I want us to go ahead and get ourselves some shooting. I want us to put together a fit that makes sense for Bron and AD. And if we're not going to do that, I want us to trade Bron and AD and bring us back all the picks possible. And then when I say that, I realize that it may not be possible even if we were choose to. And that's the reality of our situation as well. You mess around and try to trade Bron and AD and not get back nothing that you think is worth getting back for that type of talent. So it's not the market to be in disarray or messing around trying to play with your value. Your value is going to be inflated or devalued just by the presence of the market itself. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll see if the Lakers bend and actually throw in that 29th pick. I think it would probably be wise if things were to potentially get worse if they don't. She probably should. But I think this could also be a ploy, some kind of intricate ploy to get us to come up off of that 29th pick too. I got a lot of theories that I'm very paranoid when it comes to stuff like this, but it's because I don't have enough information. I'm in my house speculating. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm Team Lakers, so whatever is best for the organization is best in my mind, for my opinion. And as an objective fan of basketball, I want to see players in good positions to succeed and stuff like that. And I would love for those two things to be able to align with one another. And unfortunately, in the presence of this NBA, they often cannot. So it is what it is, man. Do what's smart, Lakers. My natural inclination is to say trade Russell Westbrook, but the smartest thing to do is to assess your situation and move accordingly. And that's the only thing I'll suggest. So that's what I got. My name is BDF44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.